Good morning, everybody. Today I wanted to talk to you about why the narcissist must devalue you. I've had some questions in the comments about could I touch on this topic, so I wanted to go over this. So when you meet the narcissist in the love bomb phase in the first cycle, they idolize you, and that is to say that you're perfect in their sight. When you guys met, you were put into this place as ideal for them. You're going to solve all their problems. What they like is your love and your support, the way you carry yourself and your traits. And a lot of times they think that they can acquire these traits, meaning if they rub up against you long enough that they can start to operate in these traits. That's what makes you special, is somebody with love and happiness and joy that they freely give to the individual. And so in the love bomb phase, you are pretty awesome to them. And so they allow themselves to get gaslit into this, even though that they know that down the road, they're going to devalue and discard you after they get you hooked. Because this is something that, in their opinion, in their mind, it goes along with their abandonment issues. And so they're going to be in a situation where you're perfect to them and you're supposed to answer all their needs and you're going to fix all their issues and you're going to be their savior. They look to you like that in the first cycle of the love bomb phase. But at some point in time, they get bored with you and you say something that you disagree with in their eyes, and now you're not perfect. And they have black and white thinking. So with them having black and white thinking, they can't have no gray area thinking, which means they're completely unbalanced. You have to think in gray areas. Meaning, like, if you're upset with somebody, you can say, well, I still care, love you, but I'm maybe upset with you in the situation, but I still care. I'm not going to, like, do evil things to you. I just disagree with the way you treated me. They can't think like that. It's almost like you're good, now you're bad. And when you're in devalue phase, they don't discard you, even though they're black and white thinkers, because they have to prepare to get, or they have to be ready to be monkey branch to somebody else, meaning go from one tree to the next, right? That's what a monkey does. So that's what they are doing. And that's why they don't just discard you, or you may still have fuel. They're in arrested development. They're a 4 or 5-year-old or 10-year-old in an adult body. So it's almost like they got a new toy, and that's you, your shiny new toy. But at some point after the toy gets tarnished, then they get tired of it. Or if you get predictable, meaning you're going to be there for them. Once they've conquered you, it's like a predator that conquers its prey. Once they've destroyed and ate off that carcass, they're going to move on to the next prey, right? And so once you kind of submit to the relationship and you're all in, and they're ready to discard and move on to the next because they've conquered you. You're water and oil with them, or you're unequally yoked all the time, because how the narcissist thinks is complete opposite of how humanity thinks. And a lot of ways they have a lot of these weird thoughts in mind that they do think, but you are targeted. They have to devalue you, because even when you're in a narcissistic family, they devalue and treat the family like crap, but their friends that are outside the home, they might treat really good, and you'll scratch your head about that. Those are individuals that they look at as they're more exclusive, or things could change with them out there. You know, they're friends, but, you know, they don't have to be friends tomorrow. So they want to keep up that friendship, so they got to keep up the mask with them. In the case of you, once they get you conquered, they feel they got you trauma bonded. They don't really have friends and some of their love partners trauma bonded like they have their primary source of supply. They know that they got you wrapped up, and so you're coming back regardless. So they disrespect you. And what happens is after the love bomb phase and after a cycle or two or whatever, you get into constant devalue mode. You get to a point where you're not going to be giving them a lot of admiration, making them feel all that, you know, that love to some degree. So now, because you're being treated like crap. So what's going to happen is now they have to create like reactive abuse, and they got to steal it from you that way. Unbeknownst to you, you don't really know that's really going on because you don't understand the release of energy and how reactive abuse versus, observing, not absorbing, is a situation in reality until after you've dealt with the narcissist, and then you've kind of learned all these tactics that they're somewhat very much so spiritual. Once you submit to them, once they've conquered you, they disrespect you. Once they know that you're committed or they can count on you, you're disrespected and you're going to be devalued all the time. And a lot of times when they feel like that you have traits and things that they can't steal, they can't create like you can create, for instance. So they can only do evil, and they can steal your traits through reactive abuse and stuff, and they can wear your energy, but they can't create that energy, meaning they can't generate that energy. They can only generate evil, and they can only abuse to use the good fuel that you have to where they're masked correctly. That's why they need an in-house primary source supply, if at all possible, because that's what makes them look vulnerable and look like a covert narcissist that's a vulnerable empath. It's your fuel. And they have to watch you every day. When they watch you every day, it's easy for them to copy you. But when you're not there, they can't just copy you and put that on. And they can't flip that energy with you. When they're dealing with you on a regular basis, they're able to stay in a mode of being a vulnerable type looking empath. Even though they're still devising evil behind closed doors, when they're out and about, that's why I say that they build this with your being at the center of the fuel matrix. They're able to build a huge web of deceit off your fuel. And to some degree, that's why you catch so much bad reaping, because they're using your fuel and converting it into building them an army of deceit. So you want to get out of those situations as quick as possible, because you're feeding the enemy 3 hot meals and giving them a cot to sleep on with your energy. And they're going out there and they're getting their secondary, tertiary supply. They're getting all these flying monkeys and all these people to bow down to them. It's because they're using your fuel, and your fuel is good fuel. And it makes them look good. It makes them wear that mask good. It straightens out the crooked mask. And it makes them really look soft and calm and vulnerable when they're not. And it's a very spiritual situation. And so that's why they have to revalue you at some point later on down the road. But you're also like, when you are their primary source of supply, you are their scapegoat. And they always have a scapegoat and a golden child situation, where that's why the secondary, tertiary supply would be more like their golden child. For instance, if you're in complete devalue mode, if you're in constant devalue mode and they're like cheating on you with somebody, that person's going to be their golden child. And you're going to be the one somebody's got to take the hit for all the crap. So all the bad news they're doing, they got to accuse somebody else of causing it, not them. And so it's going to be the in-house you. And then they get bored. They get bored. They don't respect and they don't treat the individuals that are doing the most for them ever. And that's why the narcissist is usually completely unsuccessful, unless they have somebody behind them that is financially wealthy, that's fixing everything. They have to have a person that generates a lot of money behind them that fixes everything, because they create problems and they're very unsuccessful in situations. And so they need they need people to be enablers, but they need somebody, an enabler that is always going to be a primary source, and or an enabler that is going to be financially savvy, that's willing to always be there for them, to get them, to bail them out of troubles. They always got to have somebody to devalue. And a lot of times when they lose that in-house source of supply, it creates a lot of ruckus, because they're used to flipping fuel and blaming you all the time. And now they're not able to straighten the mask out. They don't have anybody at as that in-house source supply I mean, they can get somebody, but it just depends on how much they're going to fold. A lot of times when they get the primary source supply, it's somebody else that grew up in a narcissistic family that is going to be an enabler until they wake up. Until you wake up, you're going to enable it because you don't understand and you were enmeshed in it in your family unit. As a child, they don't have to wear the mask for you. That's basically it. I mean, you know at some point who they really are. At some point, the mask continues to slip more and more to where at some point you know how brutal they are. But then they also got to beat you down enough to where they feel like that you're going to have such a low self-esteem that you won't leave because you won't feel confident enough to leave. And so that's the other thing. They want to like lock you down financially with children, with finances, with a house, home, car. And then they get you to reactively abuse out there. And they're also smearing your name already creating a narrative. So everybody thinks that you have issues and it's not them. You'll have nowhere to run. You'll be anxious. You'll be depressed. You won't even be physically looking good. And anything you had joy doing, you'll have cut off already. So by the time that they do discard you, and if they do discard you or you leave, when you move on, you're going to be completely destroyed. And that's so that they can run around and then come back to you and nobody else will have wanted you, or you wouldn't have felt confident enough to go get somebody. So that's really why the narcissist has to devalue you. Basically, it's because you're not new anymore. You have traits and values that they want to acquire, but they can't. So they have to steal them, and they're envious of you. And they don't want you to leave them as a primary source supply. So they beat you down so that whenever they do leave, they can come back and you'll take them right back and you won't have the ability to feel like you could get somebody else. They feel like that they're confident that you're never going to leave. And so those are the main reasons why they will continue to devalue you. I hope that helps somebody out there. Thank you for watching. Give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up. Appreciate y'all. Peace. We out.